bless you. He took it upon himself to cut me a $35,000 check, but because I wasn't receiving no money, and I went to jail for a ticket. You know, I had a 3-day sentence for a ticket, and he agreed to cut a $35,000 check to me. You know, uh, he said, well, it's really your money anyway, and I just think it's a shame that you're going through all of this and you don't even have all this money out here that we have posted that you've made, and you're not getting anything. So that was my first money from Makaveli.
This is a Jmix exclusive.
First money that he cut, my first statement was $269,000. The actual first money I ever touched was $35,000. That this guy Scott Aronson, he was the lawyer for the company, for either Interscope or somebody then, or some Priority or something, and he just thought that, hey man, we'll get you at least this much. Do you know how hard it was for them 3 days in jail, knowing I got out? When I get out, I got $35,000.
Long 3 days.
Man, every time I went to sleep at night, I thought it was morning and it had only been 10 minutes. You know, be like, because I had already, in my mind, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that, I'm gonna buy, 35,000 already. And then when my lawyer let me know it was already there, oh man, them 3 days, every day was like 10 days. Yeah, so, that's what I said. With the money going and finding it in Baltimore and stuff, I think a lot of that went on. A lot of that went on. I knew I was around the time when tapes started end up missing out of the vault, what we called the vault. When Death Row was going to ride like it was, and everything was all kind of trouble, everybody just reached for their own. And a lot of people, to be honest, they were stealing Tupac's tapes. They were stealing his tapes. And running and releasing them in swap meets and different things like that. But people was just getting in the vaults, grabbing their own masters and other people's stuff. There was a lot of stuff that came up missing out of the vault.
Was that when Norris was running things? Norris was running things right then?
Norris was running things. But this, at the end, it didn't look like nobody was running nothing, because it just looked like everything went awry. It was just like chaotic. It wasn't... But Death Row was never really diligent to me on business points and stuff like that, because even with us hiring people to play for us, whether they were for hire or we got sued by a lot of musicians who later, because Death Row wasn't diligent with their paperwork, they realized that these guys hadn't signed off as just session players.
Yeah.
Them guys realized that, and some lawyers got up under them. Make them prove it. Make them prove it. And a lot of them won.
You're talking about this situation as Death Row was crumbling. Before it started to crumble, were there any grumblings from other people about their finances? Was this something that came as soon as Suge Knight went to jail?
Not a lot. To me, I'm not saying that a lot wasn't going on. I wasn't privy to it. And I guess I was like the peon, the new guy trying to make my way in the label. I was a no-name. So it could have been on a bigger level than what I was privy to. There could have been complaints to Suge about this not being right, that not being right. But before the thing, I wasn't making no real money. I wasn't making money. Suge hired me there $1,500 a month. That's what I was making as a producer and whatever there. I was making $1,500 a month, and he didn't know it, but Death Row was paying my rent too, because Norris paid my rent with a Suge Knight stamp. You know, he would stamp his name on stuff, and I lived at a place called the Oakwood. What is it called?
Oakwood Apartments.
Oakwood Apartment. I lived in the Oakwood Apartments, and that was because I was a single parent, so that was good for us. And we had tennis courts, pools, barbecues, all that. Maid came and cleaned up the room every day, and it came with all that. And Death Row was footing the bill. Suge didn't know though.
Now you brought up Tyrone. That's Hurt 'Em Bad.
Hurt him bad, my boy.
And you brought up Makaveli. I guess the most elephant in the room question is, how did you meet Tupac? How did you start to, you know? How did you
Man,
start to work
I
with
met Tupac. Well, met him. I saw him the first day he got to Death Row. That was a big thing. We all expected him. So when he came in, I was right there in the hallway. I couldn't believe he was passing right by me. You know, first day he got there. Now meeting him really like, hey, I was in that room. By this time, so there was a lot of friction going on with me and Tyrone trying to establish ourselves there. And Suge had heard a little bit about it. He started hearing that me and Tyrone was getting, catching a little friction by other artists and doing whatever. And he said, man, I'm gonna stop all this hating around here, man. I'm gonna go, that little room y'all be in, we about to fix that. We're gonna pull them recorders out of there. And because the room where I started writing and singing in ended up being me and Tyrone's room. He started coming in there too. But what we did was we'd find little equipment we could that nobody was using around somewhere, and we started learning how to, you know, do what everybody else is doing. So Suge heard about it, and he said, man, I'm tired of this hating around here, man. This gonna be the money room. I'm gonna put green carpet on the walls and on the floors here. This gonna be the money room, and I bet y'all come up with a hit out of this room, right? So he let us go to Guitar Center and gave us a carte blanche, like whatever you think you want to play, go get it. So we went and got a whole bunch of equipment and everything, right? And me and Tyrone just bought everything we want. That's like a kid in a candy store. We bought everything that made a sound, you know, and learned how to use it right then. And I started making beats in there. Pac walked in one day, just pushed the door open one day like Suge often did and nodded his head. But he walked in one day and said, man, whose beat is that? I said, just something I'm messing around. He said, man, that's my beat. Let's go put it in the room right now. When you put it in the room means you're going to the big studio. You're taking it to the big engineer. Oh, man, I'm excited. I can't break my stuff down fast enough to go in there. And that song ended up being a published song too. It was called Military Mind. It came out on Better Days. The first song I ever done with him ended up being the last one published, but it actually came out on Better Days. So that's how I actually met him, was him sticking his head in the door one day liking a beat. Tyrone had just placed a beat maybe 2 or 3 days before, and so I really felt the pressure was on me too, because me and him started in that room together and everything, and me and him having each other's back, but he had already landed a song on Pac. And I'm like, what? Man, you got Pac doing one of your songs? So now we in there killing it. We don't even want to go home. We just want to make beat after beat after beat, hoping he come taking, us. So Tyrone got one, and then he heard Military Mind, he took that. And so that was my first time like actually meeting or getting to know him.
Now there's a noticeable, with the Makaveli album, there's a noticeable change in production. You got All Eyes on Me, Johnny J's all over the thing.
Yeah.
And then you go to the Makaveli album, and it's kind of a two-part question here.
Are you saying that our production is a whole lot watered down than what would you probably know from Pac?
No,
Okay.
It's just drastically different.
It is.
Pac looking
I've heard
for
it
a
wasn't
new
finished.
sound?
I heard it wasn't finished, really. It wasn't finished.
Man, if you heard it, you probably heard an interview from me. A lot of our stuff wasn't done. It wasn't polished. It wasn't. We weren't the producers that people usually get, that people usually use. We were novice. We were learning our equipment. We had ideas in our head. We both could sing. Tyrone and I both. We both had a music knowledge, some knowledge of music, but being experts on the equipment, we weren't. And knowing how to chop up a song or do a different, we didn't know all of that, and edit and all this, we didn't know that. So all of our mistakes were transparent. You could hear them just through the wall. The mistakes and the things we didn't know, we were open. It was transparent. You know, we were learning, but Pac took it like that, and that's why I say it was a blessing, because I had a conversation with Johnny J one time on the phone. He and I periodically would call each other. And then one of the last conversations, rest in peace, John, he actually said, he was speaking about how he wasn't on Makaveli, and see how they messed that project up? And he said that to me. He said, that's how they messed that project up. And I had to say, Johnny, I got 5 songs on that project, man. You know, like,